Gomukhasana. You may need a belt for this. So we're going to stretch up with the right arm. So that right arm's in Udvahastasana. The left arm will turn and you'll see. Maybe you can catch hold of your belt. Maybe you can catch hold of your fingers. Okay, so belt over the right hand shoulder if you're using it. Inner edges of the feet together. So get the balance on your feet when your feet are together. A little more difficult when the feet are together than when they're slightly apart. And we're going to need this balance as we progress in the sequence. So extend up with your right arm, bend at the elbow, stretch out with your left arm, turn and rotate it, and see. Bring the back of the palm to the center of the shoulder blades, or where it will come to, up your back, and see if you can grab hold of your belt or your fingers. Now when you're doing this, you need to keep your frontal ribs back, so don't poke the abdomen forwards, the ribs forwards, the thighs forwards. Everything has to be in line. So if you look at the side of your body, your outer ankle should be in line with your outer hip, and that should be in line with the outer shoulder. Okay, so releasing and going to the other side. Drop the belt over your left shoulder. Just roll the shoulders back and down for a moment. Extend up with your left arm, stretch into the fingertips and bend at the elbow. Keep that left upper arm close to your left ear. Stretch your right arm out, turn it, and then take hold of your fingers or your belt. And breathe. Ribs back, weight back into the heel bones. Toes lengthening but not gripping the floor. Extend the elbows away from one another. Keep the facial features nice and soft. You can even smile. It's yoga. Okay. Some of you with shoulder problems will not be feeling a lot of pleasure in that, I know. All right, releasing. But it is a good pose. Just don't force it. If you've got a rotator cuff injury, then, you know, something like that, then really we have to be a little bit mindful of those things, and that's why we've got the belt there. Okay, so we're going to come first of all into this action where you're going to take your chair in front of you and place your right foot onto the seat of the chair. So we're coming from Tadasana, placing the right foot onto the seat of the chair. Then the arms are going to come up and we're going to come into Gomukhasana again. So, you know, this is adding a little bit of challenge to the balance here. Now again, you can use your belt, it's not a problem. Those of you who've got really difficult rotator cuff injuries, you can just keep that hand out to the side. There's no need to take it up the back if that's problematic for you at the moment. Okay, so if you're using your belt goes over your right shoulder. Just look at your feet for a moment. Inner edges of the feet together, toes spreading. Get all of those toes really firmly in contact with the floor, and take your right foot up onto the seat of the chair. So this shouldn't be a reaching, lunging action. You've just got the chair. My chair seat is about a foot ahead of my toes, so it's about 30 centimeters. Tailbone long, chest lifted. We're going to stretch the arms up into Udvahastasana to start with. So inhale, stretch the arms up. So you're going to keep your right arm up there. Take the left arm out and see, can you catch your fingers or your belt? Keep the tailbone long, keep lifting out of your pelvis, keep contact with those toes on the standing leg, and breathe and releasing. Well done. So if you're using your belt, you can place it over the left shoulder, release the right foot down, and take the left foot up. So again, get this nice spread on the toes so that you've got a good balance going on that standing leg. If balance is really an issue, take yourself with your back to the wall. Extend down with the fingertips and then inhale, Lift the arms up and we come into Gomukhasana. So you should be getting a little more mobile in the shoulders now. We're doing quite a lot of this work in the Gomukhasana action, so hopefully that will start to feed into your body and give you a bit more mobility even if you've got a problem in that region. Extend the left elbow towards the ceiling, the right elbow towards the floor, lift your chest, keep your ribs back, and releasing. Good. You may need a couple of bricks for this, and that's absolutely fine. If your body's a little bit tight, hamstrings are a bit tight, then you can take a couple of bricks. We're just going to step the feet apart for this. Lift up, extend forwards, and take the hands down. Okay, so if you need bricks, then have bricks for your hands. That's absolutely fine. From Tadasana, step your feet apart. You want your feet so that they more or less come underneath your wrists. That gives you a rough idea of the width that you need. You press firmly down into those outer foot bones. Lift the inner ankles, inner thighs, inner knees, all lifting up. Tailbone weighting down, front of the pelvis lifting up. Roll your shoulders back and down, hinge forwards, look forwards, and take your hands down to the floor, just underneath your shoulders, and look along the floor. Draw your shoulder blades down towards your back waist. Extend your collarbones forwards. Okay, and slowly coming up, heel toe your feet together and bring your feet back to Tadasana. Coming now for Adho Mukha Svanasana, but we're coming from Adho Mukha Virasana first, and then we're walking into Uttanasana. So I'll just show. Adho Mukha Virasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down. Walking forwards, so you can take your feet to the width of the mat. Now, if your hands come to the floor and you can get this concave action in your upper back, all well and good. If that's your action or that's your action, then the hands come here or here. It's not a problem where the hands come to. The hamstrings will lengthen with time. All right, so let's do that together. Those who can't do Adho Mukha Virasana can do the alternative, sitting on the chair. Toes together, heels apart, knees a little wider than your pelvis. Extend forwards. If your bottom lifts, put something between your bottom and your heels, a bolster or a foam pad. Extend the arms forwards. If your head doesn't comfortably reach the floor, then place a foam pad or two underneath your head. You can always use folded towels, blankets if you don't have any equipment. So while we're in this position, just feel the lower back broadening and opening. Okay, so look forwards, come up onto your hands and knees. Have your middle finger pointing directly forwards, fingers evenly spread. Tuck your toes under, feet hip width apart, lift up. So keep your heels lifted. I know that some of you can get your heels down, but we're keeping the lift in this pose. So keep the heels lifted, keep the kneecaps lifted, keep the thigh muscles lifted, keep the sitting bones extending up towards the ceiling, lift your abdomen towards your spine. So press down into your thumbs, but see if you can get the same action in your arms as you got in Urdhva when we were stretching the arms up. So the upper arm in Gomukhasana where we were stretching the arms back. Okay, now walk your feet towards your hands. Have your feet the width of the mat. So line the outer edges of your feet up with the outer edges of your mat. Now your hands can either come to the floor underneath your shoulders or onto your shins or onto your thighs. No problem where the hands are. What does matter is what's the action in your spine,
what's the action in your legs? Lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, extend your collarbones forwards. Okay, and slowly coming up, well done. We're coming now for Padottanasana, and we're going to use the back of the chair for this. But if you don't have a flat chair back, which a lot of people won't have, you can use a tabletop, you can use a window ledge, just to have a look around your room. You can use the back of the sofa. So I'm just going to show. I just need to get my distance correct here. So we're going to step forwards, extend forwards, and stretch. So we're really getting the length in this pose, and then we can step forwards, step back, and do the other side. All right, so let's do that together. So stand in Tadasana, stretch down with your fingertips, extend up with the crown of the head, turn the left foot out, big step forwards with the right foot. Now you might have to adjust your position because you may be using a piece of furniture or something that's static, like a window ledge or a mantelpiece. So lengthen the tailbone, lift out of your pelvis, grip in your outer hips, and then extend forwards, drawing back on this right leg side. So that thigh, that hip has to pull back, pull back, pull back. Extend forwards to the back of your chair or to the back of your sofa, whatever you're using for your hands, and move your armpits towards the floor. Okay, so keep active in that front leg, pulling the kneecap up, pulling the thigh muscle up. Those with hyperextension in the knees, then you can just soften that front leg, activate the thigh muscle and kneecap, and pull back with that action, because you know that you will have a tendency to go into the back of the knee if you've got overextension in your joints. All right, so stepping forwards, and we can walk back, do to the other side. Right foot out, left foot forwards. Turn the pelvis, tailbone long, lift out of your pelvic bone. So you've got to lift here out of the pelvis and keep that lift as you extend forwards, and move your armpits down towards the floor. So again, we've got to draw back now on the left hand side. So pull back that left thigh, hip, leg, really draw that back, kneecap lifting on that front leg, but also keep the back leg strong and straight, pushing down into that back leg heel. All right, and bend your front leg slightly to step forwards to come out of the pose. So we're coming into an Uttanasana action, and then we're going to come into Padangusthasana if you are able to. So I'm just going to show. We'll work with the feet slightly apart, hip width apart. So you lift through your frontal pelvic bones and you take your hands down to your bricks. Now either you keep your hands on your bricks, which you will do if you can't get further without compromising your legs or back. For those who are able to, you take, it's like a 2 fingers and a thumb, and it's like a lobster claw, goes around your big toe on each side. You lift and lengthen, and then for those who are able to, you draw the body down. That's a strong forward bend. Many people at this stage of the yoga journey do not have the flexibility to get into that, and that is absolutely fine. I have to tell you, I was on these bricks for many, many years before I progressed. And if you try and progress too quickly, you don't get off the bricks. So be patient with these forward bends. Feet hip width apart, middle toe pointing forwards, pushing down into the heel bones, lifting all this soft tissue fibre on the legs up. Frontal pelvic bones lifted. Roll your shoulders back and down, stretch down into your fingertips. And then keeping this frontal pelvic bone area lifted up, lifted up, lifted up. And then take the hands down onto your bricks. So once you've got your hands onto your bricks, then re-establish, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, extend your breastbone forwards. For those who are able to, remember it's the 2 fingers go between the big toe and the second toe, and the thumb comes around to meet them, so it's a bit like a lobster claw around that big toe mound. So straight arms to start with. If you're working in Uttanasana to the bricks, just keep working with the hands on the bricks and lifting the sitting bones, lifting through the fronts of the legs. Kneecaps, thigh muscles have to be engaged in these forward bends. So with this action, those who are able to bend the elbows out to the side and just draw the body to where it will come to. All right, lift up and releasing, and stand in Tadasana, inner edges of the feet together, stretching down into the fingertips. So you can have a couple of bricks, you can have some foam pads. It might be that you need to release your head down onto the seat of a chair. I'm just going to show you Prasarita Padottanasana with the head resting. So we're pressing down, lifting up, and coming into this action where the head comes down. But for many people, the head doesn't reach that far, so you may need to have some supports here for your head to rest onto. Okay, so let's do that together. Step or jump the feet wide. Again, feet about in line with your wrists. Middle toe pointing forwards, pressing down into the outer foot bones, lifting through the inner legs, tailbone long, chest lifted. Keeping the abdomen back, extend forwards. So keep that action, the energy going from the outer hip down to the outer foot bone, from the inner ankle to the inner groin, pressing the inner thighs away from one another. So keep the lift through the sitting bones, the lift through the abdomen. Walk your hands back so that the heel of your hand lines up with the heel of your foot. Middle finger pointing forwards, elbows in line with your shoulders. The elbows have a tendency to swing out a little in this pose. And then rest your head onto the floor or onto your support. Breathe, fine inhalation, fine exhalation. Just rest down, keep the legs very active, but release the head. And now coming back up again, walk your hands forwards, heel toe your feet together, and coming back up into Tadasana. And we're going to use a couple of foam pads. Alright, so I'm going to show you what we're going to do next, which is a Marichyasana 1 twist. We're going to draw up the right leg, stretch up with the right hand, hook the elbow and turn. So you'll need a brick or a couple of foam pads behind you, or if you've got a sofa behind you or a chair behind you, you can put your hands onto that. Okay, so let's do that together. Again, pull the flesh of these hamstrings up, pull the buttocks back. Draw up your right leg, interlock the fingers at the head of the shin, lift up, extend up with the right arm, get that length and extension through that right waist, hook the elbow and turn. Breathe, so this left shoulder has to move back, move back. Okay, and releasing. Okay, so other side now, left leg up, heel back, interlock the fingers, lift your chest, extend up with the left arm, hook the left arm and turn. and breathe and smile. Press down with the inner heel of that left foot to give you traction to turn. Okay, and releasing and stretching that leg out. So we're going to come into your Shavasana now. You can use a bolster for underneath your knees, that's absolutely fine. It might be that you want to take your legs up onto the seat of a chair. So lying down, making sure that you are in line on your mat. Take your attention inwards. Broaden and open across the front of the throat. Release your cheek muscles. Release around the temples. And allow the gaze of the eyes to move deep into the center of the body. Watch your breath as it rolls in and rolls back out again. So I would recommend that you stay in your Shavasana for another 2 or 3 minutes. But for those of you who want to come out, bend your knees, carefully roll to the right side and come into a seated position, but don't rush anything.